They didn't conquer us with guns alone. They conquered us with taxes, with currency, with a system so clever, it made us build their empire, pay for it, and thank them for the job. See, colonialism was never just about land. It was about value. It was about who decides what is worth what, and who deserves to own it. And in that war for value, money became the most powerful weapon ever created. Part 1. The Invasion of Value. Before the British flag flew over Kenya, there were trade networks, Swahili merchants in Mombasa, Arab dhows crossing the Indian Ocean, gold and ivory flowing through Kilwa, Lamu, and Malindi. We had our own economy, one built on trust and exchange, not exploitation. But when the colonizers came, they didn't just bring soldiers. They brought a new religion, money with a crown on it, the rupee, the florin, the pound, each coin stamped with the king's face, each note carrying a message. Your value now belongs to us. And with that, the rules of the game changed. Trade became taxation, freedom became employment, and value became colonial property. Part 2. The Hut Tax and the Trap. Let me tell you about the hut tax. It sounds harmless, right? Just a small fee for every home. But it was a genius move, a silent bullet. Because before the tax, Africans didn't need money. We had land, cattle, family. Everything of worth was shared or grown. But when the British introduced the tax, they said, "You must pay this in shillings." Shillings we didn't have. So we went to work. On their farms, on their railways, in their mines. And for the first time, the African worked not to survive, but to serve. That's how money became a leash. It forced men off their land, turned women into laborers, and made entire villages depend on foreign paper to exist. They didn't just colonize our soil, they colonized our economy. Part 3. The Currency of Control. In 1905, the British East Africa Company introduced the East African Rupee to unify trade. But in truth, it unified control. They outlawed local currencies, set fixed exchange rates, and made sure every shilling flowed upward to London. A coin minted in Bombay could command a man in Machakos. A note printed in England could move a nation in Nyeri. That's how powerful symbols can be when belief is hijacked. And when Kenya started exporting coffee, tea, sisal, who set the prices? Not us. When we borrowed, who owned the debt? Not us. Even after independence, the money still whispered in English. Part 4. The Illusion of Freedom. 1963 came. The flag changed. The anthem changed. The faces in power changed. But the system stayed. We called it independence. But we were still tied to the same colonial institutions. The same banks, the same currencies, the same global masters. We kept the shilling, but it was still pegged to the pound. We elected leaders, but they still borrowed from the same lenders. The empire simply switched uniforms, from red coats to black suits, from the king's coin to the IMF's loan. And yet the pain remained the same. Work, pay, owe, repeat. Part 5. The Psychological Colonization. The colonizer didn't just steal our land. He reprogrammed our minds. He made us equate poverty with lack of cash. He made us believe that success comes from serving his system, not building our own. He taught us to measure wealth in numbers, not nourishment, to chase employment instead of empowerment, to dream in English and budget in debt. And worst of all, he made us ashamed of our own forms of trade, our own names, our own rhythms of life. We forgot that money is not value. Value is created by people, not paper. Part 6. The Empire That Never Died. Today, we think colonialism is gone, but the empire never died. It's simply digitized. Now it lives in loans, interest rates, and foreign aid. The hut tax has become the national debt. The plantation has become the multinational corporation. And every time we pay interest, every time our leaders kneel before a donor, every time a farmer is underpaid for tea that sells for millions abroad, the empire smiles. Because control no longer needs chains, it just needs compliance. Part 7, The Awakening. But here's the truth. The same way they built the system, we can unbuild it. The same way money was created through belief, we can redefine what we believe in. Because money is not evil, control is. And freedom doesn't begin with politics, it begins with awareness. When a people understand how their value was stolen, they begin to reclaim it. The empire's secret weapon was not the gun, it was our trust. And the moment we start trusting ourselves again, the empire falls. They said the crown ruled the land, but now we know it ruled the mind, and it's time to take it back.